Breaking tonight, big news out of Baltimore. The Kelly File has learned that the police crackdown that led to the arrest and subsequent death of drug suspect Freddie Gray was directed by District Attorney Marilyn Mosby, the very woman now prosecuting 6 police officers for what they say was an attempt to comply with her orders. Welcome to the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. This is a stunning development in a case that has sparked riots, protests, and angry debates all the way to the White House. Recall, DA Marilyn Mosby has publicly said these cops had no business chasing Freddie Gray and placing him under arrest in this drug-infested area, accusing them of an unlawful arrest. But today, the Kelly File got its hands on a blockbuster document, an email from a staffer in the Baltimore DA's office to the Baltimore police, less than a month before the Freddie Gray incident, directing the cops on behalf of the prosecutor to crack down on the exact area where Freddie Gray was arrested by, quote, enhancing their anti-drug push there. The order was then passed along to the beat cops. Get those drug pushers and you will be forced to account for your success daily. Off went the Baltimore PD, and on April 12th, they arrested Freddie Gray on virtually the same street corner Ms. Mosby wanted them to target. Gray would later die in police custody and become a new flashpoint in a campaign against some of America's cops. Trace Gallagher has the very latest on what we have learned today, live in our West Coast newsroom. Trace?
And Megyn, the reason the state's attorney asked police to target that area is because she had received a series of pictures showing various drug deals going down at that intersection. Her office then sent an email to a Western Baltimore police commander saying, quoting, State's Attorney Mosby asked me to look into community concerns regarding drug dealing in the area of North Ave and Mount Street. 3 days later, the police commander sent an email to several of his officers saying that effective immediately, quote, you will conduct a daily narcotics initiative addressing North and Mount Streets. Now remember, that's the exact address where Freddie Gray was arrested, and one of the officers who got the email was Lieutenant Brian Rice, who was involved in Freddie Gray's arrest and is now charged in his death. Defense attorneys for the officers charged say that Marilyn Mosby was directing these officers to one of the highest crime intersections in the city of Baltimore. And legal experts say that puts Mosby in a bit of a bind, and here's why. Initially, Mosby alleged that Freddie Gray's arrest was illegal because the knife he carried was legal. Well, it turns out in the city of Baltimore, the knife is illegal. So now Mosby claims Freddie Gray's arrest was illegal because, quoting again, Mr. Gray was arrested well before the officers knew he possessed a knife. But the Supreme Court has ruled that instead of probable cause, reasonable suspicion is enough to stop an individual who flees unprovoked in a high crime area. Now, in light of the new emails, it would now be difficult for the state's attorney to argue the corner of North and Mount was not a high crime area. Defense attorneys are asking Mosby to recuse herself from the case because they believe she is now both prosecutor and potential witness. Mosby's office has up to now refused to step aside, calling the defense desperate. Megyn.
Trace, thank you. Joining me now with more, Arthur Aidala, who's a New York trial attorney and a Fox News legal analyst, and Mark Eiglarsh, who's a criminal defense attorney and a former prosecutor. Arthur, I mean, to me, this is highly relevant. She gave the order. She's the one who told them, get in there, get to this specific corner, and start cracking down on those drug offenders. So they did. And now she's charged. Forget the guys who dealt with Freddie Gray when he was in that van. What about the arrest that she made of the arresting officer who apparently, according to this, was doing what she told him to do?
Which now makes her part of the narrative, right? Megyn, now she's part of the story. If you're defending these police officers and you're giving your opening statement and you're talking about why are they there, why are they in this location, she is part of that narrative. And here's the thing, legally, there's recusal, which is kind of a choice. It's kind of a self-regulating thing. And then there's disqualification. Disqualification would mean, hypothetically, let's say she represented one of these police officers before she was the district attorney or the state's attorney. She would be disqualified because she has a clear conflict. But one of the factors that goes into disqualification has to do with finances. Is somebody influenced by finances? Her husband, who is also the co-breadwinner of the family, is the city councilman for this district. If she did not charge anybody in this case, there would be direct financial ramifications to her household, to the bread that's on her table.
I don't know if they've got her on that mark.
No, it's all four together though, Megan. It's that, combined with the story you just broke, combined with her statements after the arrest, combined with her relationship with the lawyer for the deceased. All of that together does not give the defendants the pure prosecutor that they deserve.
I don't know, Mark. What do you think?
Okay, Megan, you and I have both agreed on how she probably should take herself off the case because it just looks bad. It doesn't look like she's seeking the truth.
I have agreed she has behaved inappropriately. That's what I've said.
And I've agreed that. Legally, however, this one instance, candidly, you and I part company. You're very passionate about the office's misbehavior by sending out this memo. I don't see it, Megan. Let me explain why.
I'm not saying anybody misbehaved. I'm saying she's got some nerve going out there and challenging an arrest. You and I both know the Supreme Court case is Illinois versus Wardlow. The Supreme Court held that a cop possesses reasonable suspicion to justify a stop when they see an individual flee unprovoked in a high crime area. That is what she says her arrest of the arresting cops here is based on. The fact that they arrested Freddie Gray because he fled unprovoked in a high crime area. This document proves she knew it was a high crime area and she was encouraging arrests.
Okay, two issues there. One, the fact that she's encouraging arrests at that corner just sends the cops there. I don't even think it's that relevant. The
No, it sends them there to be aggressive.
Hey, Arthur.
It sends them there to be aggressive.
Let me finish. Let me get my thoughts out. You guys have 3 minutes. Give me a moment. No, okay, thank you. The question is, the issue for their case is, what did they do when they got there? Did they arrest someone unlawfully? Did they use excessive force and ultimately cause his tragic demise? That's the issue. The second issue is whether it's a high crime area. I don't know that the prosecution's going to dispute that.
Of course they're not. They can't, given this memo, Arthur.
Right, and their boss. So that
why do they have to be witnesses then?
Mark, you're making my point. My point is now the prosecutor, the chief prosecutor, is part of the story. She's part of the opening statement. I am going to point to the table and say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, their boss sent my guy to that location to clean up the open drug ring, and when he made an arrest that she's saying is illegal, they're saying we had absolute cause to make that arrest because it's a high crime area. Here's the email, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I have it in my hand from their boss. You want me to call
and not just that, hold on, Mark, and not just that, but it was forwarded by her office to the superiors of the very officers involved in this case, including Officer Brian Rice, Lieutenant Brian Rice, who received the order. It was told to begin a daily narcotics initiative right at this corner, North and Mount, and suggested that they would be collecting daily measurables on the progress made by these cops in cracking down on the drug dealers. What does Officer Rice say happened here? He says that Freddie Gray was engaged in what was perceived to be illegal drug activity, that a chase took place, that they then placed handcuffs on them. The cops are going to deny that that was an arrest. They're going to claim that the arrest came after the knife, which is what she agreed to originally. She also said the arrest took place after the knife was found initially when she announced these charges. And let me finish. And only when, as you pointed out, Mark, it turned out that she was wrong about that knife. She was claiming that was a legal knife. That was disproved. She got proven wrong. She was like, oh, forget that stuff I said about the knife. In fact, they never should have chased him. And now it turns out she told them to do it. She essentially told them to go after guys like this.
Well, two things. One, that false arrest charge I thought was completely bogus and she lost all credibility with me on that day. But the fact that she says, go to that corner because there's a lot of crime there, in no way then somehow exculpates like the defense is suggesting, meaning showing that they're innocent because she told them to go there. She didn't instruct them to use all means necessary, including ignoring the Constitution and arresting people.
How did they ignore the Constitution?
I'm not saying they did that,
But what
Megan.
is even the argument? That if you make the eye contact, and they're going to testify that he ran, after seeing a drug transaction, he ran, they stopped him. Given the U.S. Supreme Court case, Illinois versus Wardlow, how does this case even get past motion practice?
It doesn't. In other words, it's there. It's there. Mark, let's end off agreeing on something. Wouldn't you agree that it would be in the nation's best interest if there was a prosecutor in charge of this case whose husband wasn't on the city council?
That's an easy issue.
So why don't you just admit it? Just say yes.
Can I tell you?
That's not our debate tonight.
I disagree with
That's not
both
what
of
we're
you.
talking about.
I disagree with both of you.
You think she should stay
I don't think this disqualifies her. I don't agree with the defense that this disqualifies her. But I do think this is a very helpful document to the defense of the charges, at least against the arresting officers. I'll give you the last word, Mark.
This judge will see exactly what the defense is trying to do, which I commend them for, but will not allow this office to get off the case because the defense is creating
You're defending a charge I already
Creating
conceded. I'm with you on that. I don't think this disqualifies her, but you cannot deny this is a very helpful document for the defense of the arresting officers.
It is
I
creating
still think she should get off the case. I do not believe legally the judge is going to make it, or the appellate court will say otherwise.
And now we're just going around. Now you're arguing points you already won, so it's pointless.
See you later.